what's up? Welcome to my channel. I'm Ivy, and today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book Freakout tag. I've seen this tag for like the past several years, and every year I want to do it, and for some reason I never have, but this is my year. I would like to apologize if you've been seeing this tag like everywhere lately. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna do it anyways. And I would also like to say that I've only read like 11 books so far this year, so there's gonna be a bunch of repeats, but I still want to do this tag, so you're gonna have to deal with it. The first question is, what is the best book you've read so far this year? And for that, I'm going with Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. Is anyone surprised? This is the second book in the Last Hours trilogy, which is part of like the larger Shadowhunters Chronicles, which I have been obsessed with. I've read every single one like over the past year, and this is the most recent one that came out, and I loved it. This particular trilogy follows the next generation of Shadowhunters after the characters in the Infernal Devices. We're following Cordelia Carstairs, and she is moving to London with her mom and brother after her dad has been accused of a crime and taken into custody. She and her family are trying to save their reputation after what happened to her father, but as they move back to London, Cordelia is reunited with her childhood friends James and Lucy Herondale and starts to become more of a part of the London social scene, which also involves Lightwoods and Fairchilds, and it's a fun time. What's not so fun, however, is when demon attacks start that are a little out of the ordinary, so we have to figure out what's going on there. I really liked this one. I did a whole video about it, so I'll have that linked like up there, I guess. I just love the characters that Cassandra Clare writes. Her plots are also super good, super intricate, and it always comes together in such beautiful and satisfying ways. But for me, it's the characters that I fall in love with, and I care about them so much, and I just want to know what happens to them. The next question is, what is the best sequel you've read so far this year? And again, I'm going to say Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. I already talked about it, but it is a sequel, so there's this one. There's also One of Us Is Next by Karen M. McManus, the sequel to One of Us Is Lying. They're both mystery books, and they're set in this high school, and there's tons of drama, but again, I really like the characters in here. It's less like intense mystery focused and more character focused, but the mystery element was still good and still enjoyable. In the first book, One of Us Is Lying, these 5 kids, I think, go into detention, and only 4 of them come out because one of them ends up dying, and then a mystery unfolds from there. In this book, One of Us Is Next, there's this truth or dare game going on by someone who we don't know who it is, and the characters are trying to figure out what the heck is going on with that. And it was really exciting and really fun, and I really liked it. Question number 3 is, what is a new release that you haven't gotten to yet but want to? Because I have no self-control, I went with a few books for this one, the first being The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This is like sort of a new release. I think it came out in 2020. But that's new-ish, and it's gonna be on this list. This is a prequel to The Hunger Games. I think it's the origin story for President Snow, which is very intriguing. I've heard very mixed things about it though, so I'm like a little nervous to read it, but obviously I have to because I love The Hunger Games. There's also Game Changer by Neal Shusterman. Neal Shusterman is one of my favorite authors. I've met him before, which is really awesome. This book follows a character who is a football player, and every time he gets hit on the football field, he gets transported to an alternate dimension, and that's like one of the best concepts for a book I've ever heard. And then for the last new release that I'm going to mention, there's Kate in Waiting by Becky Albertalli. Becky Albertalli is another one of my favorite authors, and all I know about this one is it has to do with theater, and I'm a theater kid, so it just sounds fantastic, especially if it's by Becky Albertalli. Question number 4 is, what is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? I'm going to cheat a little bit on this one since the book that I'm talking about came out just a few days ago, but that is Any Way the Wind Blows by Rainbow Rowell. This will be the 3rd and final book in the Simon Snow trilogy, which is heavily inspired by Harry Potter. The first book, called Carry On, takes place in Watford School for Magics, which is like Hogwarts, but you know, different. It's very inspired by Harry Potter, but it's also very unique, and there's also a very good gay romance at the forefront, and that just makes it so much fun. It's very well written, and yeah, I'm excited for the final book in the series. The next question is, what was your biggest disappointment so far this year? And interestingly, that was Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell, which is the second Simon Snow book. Don't get me wrong, I still really like this series, and I still really want to read the third book. I just didn't love this one. It just was kind of average for me. I felt like not much happened. The plot just felt kind of boring. The characters I felt were just weird, like different from what they were like before. Some of them even annoyed me, and I don't know why. I'm still gonna give the third book a chance, but this was highly disappointing since I loved the first one so much. The next question is your biggest surprise of the year, and for this I chose Put In by Julie Murphy. This is a companion book to Dumplin', and Dumplin' I liked, I didn't love, which was why it was so surprising to me when I read this and absolutely adored it. We're following two different characters who are going to Clover City High, which is where Dumplin' is also set. We have Millie, who is a fat girl, and she is determined not to go back to weight loss camp this summer. Instead, she wants to go to a broadcast journalism camp, and so she's trying to figure out how to tell her mom that while also working on her application. We also follow Callie, who is a member of the Shamrocks, which is the Clover City High School dance team, and she has her sights set on being captain next year, as well as getting the team to nationals this year. But then Callie makes a very poor decision and ends up in a not-so-great situation, but that poor decision leads to her and Millie starting to form a sort of unlikely friendship. This book really has a lot of layers to it. There's a lot going on that I really enjoyed, but my favorite aspect was the friendship between Callie and Millie. I thought it was really well done. I love a good friendship story, and this absolutely delivered on it. I was so pleasantly surprised with this book. The next question is, what is a favorite new author? It can be either a debut author or an author that's new to you. This one is just an author that's new to me, and I'll be honest, this was really my only option because everything else I've read this year was either like a sequel to something or just not a new author to me. So this is the only choice. I still really liked the book. It was Jennifer Mathieu, I think that's how you say her name, who wrote Moxie. I just really liked this book. It had a lot of good stuff to say. It's about this girl in a small town Texas high school who kind of like starts a feminist rebellion there after being inspired by her mom and what her mom did in her high school days. And it was really good. It was a lot of fun, but it also, you know, tackles a lot of serious subjects in a really powerful way, and it just made me proud to be a woman, and I really like Jennifer Mathieu now. The next question is, who is your newest fictional crush? Again, I'm cheating a bit on this one because I've had this crush since last year, but that is Matthew Fairchild from the Last Hours trilogy. Since I read Chain of Gold, I've been in love with him, but I read Chain of Iron this year, so it still counts. I'm a big fan of damaged characters, and Matthew is definitely that. He loves clothes and looking good. He loves Oscar Wilde. He's very much like, I don't know if flamboyant is the right word, but he has lots of energy. He's very like always trying to be that person who has all the energy all the time, but underneath there's so much more, and I have such a soft spot for him. I would marry him in a heartbeat. Next question is, who is your newest favorite character? And again, I'm gonna go with people from here. Matthew Fairchild is one of them because he's my baby and I love him. But also Anna Lightwood. Anna Lightwood is a fantastic character. She, despite growing up in Victorian London, is brave enough to be herself. She dresses in traditional men's clothing. She has love affairs with countless women. She's fantastic. She's always down for an adventure. She's mischievous. She is really awesome. Like, you need to read the books to really understand Anna Lightwood, and I still don't really understand Anna Lightwood, but she will go to great lengths for the people that she loves. and she's just a cool cat, and I really, really like her. I also do want to give a shout out to Millie from Puddin'. Millie is a character who annoyed me at first, and I was mad at myself for being annoyed by her, but she just is so overly positive all the time, to the point where at first it's annoying, but the more you get to know her, the more you come to love her, and her positivity and her determination and her, like, she will not stop until she gets what she wants, but, like, not in a bad way. Like, she does everything right. And she's just a great character, and I really, really grew to love her in this book. Callie as well, but more so Millie was my favorite. The next question is a book that made you cry, and honestly, I don't think I've actually shed tears yet this year from a book, but the books that came closest were these two. Yet again, I know I keep mentioning the same ones, but there's some pretty upsetting stuff in here. This one as well, Callie and Millie both hit some pretty low points, and it's pretty difficult to read about, but I haven't actually cried yet this year, so this doesn't really count. The next question is, what is a book that made you happy? For this, I'm going to go with Moxie and Puddin'. I feel like these are just two overall happy books. Girls fighting for what they want, and some romance thrown in, and just, yeah, these are happier books while also being serious, and I really like that about them. The next question, or prompt, I guess, is what is the most beautiful book that you have either bought or received so far this year? And for that, I'm going with The Art of the Lord of the Rings, which is a bunch of Tolkien's art that he did while writing The Lord of the Rings, so there's maps and stuff in here. It was put together by Wayne G. Hammond and Christina Skull, and just, like, looking at the cover, first of all, this book is absolutely gorgeous, and inside it's gorgeous, and just the fact that this book exists is gorgeous, and I'm so happy to have it in my life. The next question is, what books do you really want to read by the end of the year? I have a few. Any Way the Wind Blows, because I'm just excited to finish off this series and see if it can redeem itself. Pumpkin by Julie Murphy. This is the third companion book in this little trilogy, and I started it last night. I'm like 3 pages in, but I still started it, and, you know, I hope that by the end of the year I'm finished with it. Then there's the Jacoby series by William Ritter. I've read the first book. These are really fun mysteries. It's kind of like Sherlock and Watson, except Sherlock is Jacoby, who has the ability to, like, see paranormal stuff. Watson character is a woman, and that's a lot of fun, and I don't know, there's just lots of witty banter and exciting fun mysteries, so I really want to read the rest of these books. And then also, because I finally broke down and bought it, I want to read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I really hope that by the end of this year I can finally say that I've read it and have an opinion on it, because everyone's like, oh my god, what did you think? I'm like, I don't know, I haven't read it yet. And the final question is, who is your favorite book community member? I have so many booktubers that I absolutely love to watch, but I think my favorite would have to be Christine Riccio from Poland Bananas Books. I'll have her channel linked down below if you want to check it out, but she's just so funny. I've been watching her for years and years and years now, and yeah, if you haven't seen any of her videos ever, you really should watch them because they're fantastic. Alright, so that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time with another video. Bye.